Hi, everyone. My name is George, and I'm the Chief Data Platform Evangelist for Singlestore. I know it's 5 p.m. or past 5:30. Turn to your neighbor on your left and right and say, "Thank you for being my neighbor." And turn to the other neighbor and say, "Nice shoes." So I'm going to start off with this statement, which is a commonplace now in the last 2 years with the advent of ChatGPT, that 8 scientists from Google co-authored a landmark paper titled "Attention is All You Need" on deep learning architecture known as transformers. And we know many of those scientists went on to start OpenAI, Cohere, Near, Google Research, Character.ai, Adapt, and so on. Around the same time, there was a startup called MemSQL, which started in 2011, also developed vector capabilities in 2017 for one of our customers, Siemens, which was building an analytical database or a data platform. And we patented a universal storage architecture, which many of you call it as a HTAP database, bringing real-time transaction analytics on a single table type. Today, we are a 100 million ARR company with 350 customers and are funded by Khosla Ventures, Prosperity 7, Hewlett-Packard, Goldman Sachs, who's a customer and investor at the same time. Today, most applications are built this way. You usually will power your application with an open source database like a MariaDB, MySQL, or any open source database that you have in the market. You slowly bring in your batch data, you bring in your operational data. The moment you start bringing in third-party data or unstructured data, you bring in a JSON database or a document DB into the mix. Soon, you want to have low latency performance, so you bring in a caching layer like a Redis into the mix. Soon, you want to bring in full text search capability to your application, so you work with Elastic. You bring in your IoT data through multiple sources, IoT devices, click streams. And soon you feel like, you know what, I want to start understanding my customer. So you bring in a data warehousing solution or an analytical database like a Snowflake into the mix. And you use a vector database into that for your AI, ML, and all those needs. As you can see in this illustration alone, you use close to 6 to 7 databases just to power one application. And this introduces a plethora of problems because each database has its own data type. The application suffers because none of them have real-time data. All of them are sitting in silos. Application is working off stale data, and data freshness suffers, vendor lock-ins, you name it, and the cost goes through the roof. That is where AI now comes in, and you have to build AI on top of that. So that is where Singlestore comes in. Singlestore is a single data platform that can transact and analyze on a single table type. We patented it and called it universal storage. And we have been a vector database since 2017, which gives you the ability to handle transactions and analytics and vectors for real-time capabilities, giving you in-memory-like performance regardless of where you keep your data, whether you keep your data in memory, disk, or object store. And we work with a plethora of data types: JSON, time series, key value, geospatial, you name it, we have it. To simplify the database sprawl, Singlestore can work with batch data, operational data. It can even work with third-party data. It can even bring in IoT data. You don't need a caching layer because we are an in-memory database as well. We are also able to perform analytics on that single table. That means you can reason as soon as the data lands. And then you bring in vector capabilities, which we already have. So you can do full text search, we can do hybrid search, semantic search, and we support all these data types: relational, geospatial, vectors, JSON, and more. This is the future of where databases are headed. The ability to ingest any kind of data, retrieve with intelligence and context across all data types. We bring in the simplicity, speed, and scale like no other. So let me demonstrate one of those features, which is the speed aspect of it. What I'm showing you right now is the Singlestore Studio or the backend layer, which is the SQL editor. And using simple SQL, you can run queries. So just keep an eye on this. When I run on this, you can see here, it has close to 46 billion rows of data, and it scanned through the entire database under 343 milliseconds. That's the kind of speed I'm talking about. And now you run a complex query by adding subselect with joins, and I click run, and it did that within 359 milliseconds across 46 billion rows of data. You can run that same SQL query on JSON data as well without the need for a specialty database. And it did that within 350 milliseconds. And you can see here, if I just look at the database, you might be thinking, this is 46 billions of rows of data. I click on it, and all that performance you saw that was without any indexing. This is the kind of database performance that we are talking about. So you can imagine the kind of customers that we have that need real-time performance and analytics across the board for great customer experience and intelligence. We have Kakao in Korea, K-Bank, POSCO, DBS Bank, Dell Technologies, Epigen, which does facial recognition, Factors.ai, which is a MarTech organization, Fathom Analytics, which is a privacy-first analytics platform that competes with Google Analytics, Kroger's in the US, True Digital in Thailand, Zoom Info in Israel, GE, Goldman Sachs, who is a customer and investor, all have a need for speed, need for their customers, because not a single customer will come back to you and say, can you make my application a little slower because it's too fast for me? Everyone needs real-time performance, and it is it's not a nice feature to have. In this day and age of AI, it's a must-have feature. And these are the customers that we have. We have 50 petabytes of data, which is the largest cluster that we have, which gives you 1 to 15 milliseconds response time on analytics, running 35K queries per cluster. Our net promoter score is 45, and we are one of the most top-rated database for all intelligent AI applications across TrustRadius, G2, Gartner, and more. And as you can see here, Siemens has even told that we were one of the fastest databases ever tested by their team. There are 3 ways you can adopt Singlestore. Number 1, you can build modern applications, intelligent applications on Singlestore. Number 2, you can augment your existing data infrastructure on Singlestore. If you're on Cloudera, Snowflake, Teradata, or Google BigQuery, you can augment its performance by 100x or 1000x using Singlestore. And lastly, if you're having a legacy data store or architecture, you want to modernize your applications, we can completely consolidate that by using Singlestore. But since we are at the SuperAI conference, let me just share with you regarding building with simplicity and augmentation for this session. So how do you build information retrieval on generative AI with generative AI applications? Number 1, you could do content generation on Singlestore. So Outreach is a customer of ours, which is a sales tech organization that you can draft emails by using existing customer data that's residing in Singlestore and use a LLM of your choice, whether it's Llama 3 or OpenAI. You can do summarization like how we do with Gong and 6sense. You can even do meaning-based search for e-commerce stores on what you want to buy and recommendation engines. We even power financial services organizations like Bank of America to do Q&A using semantic search across the enterprise data and using LLM of their choice. And lastly, you can even do agentic application for travel booking sites or hotel booking sites so that it can take action by using these intelligent applications. Now, if you're building an intelligent app using RAG on an LLM of your choice, you need to have at least 3 different databases, as I've shown in the illustration above, that you need a transactional database, you need an analytical database, and you need another vector database in order to power your Gen AI applications. And your application performance will suffer because all these data are locked up in different data types, and no application has full rights to the real-time data that you have in your enterprise. And when you do work with Singlestore, we essentially combine all those benefits on a single platform, bringing structured and unstructured data into the mix, the ability to do vectors and exact keyword search, the ability to do live vectorization of data as soon as the data lands, and unlike no other, you can do RAG with analytics on a single data platform with millisecond performance on petabyte scale. So if you're building a RAG application or intelligent application on Singlestore, you can build that with an LLM of choice and on a single data platform like Singlestore, which can transact, analyze, and contextualize live as soon as the data lands with zero ETL. And these are some of the leading customer use cases that we have. Directly Apply, which is a job site, builds a differentiated search product using keyword search and meaning-based search using generative AI. LiveRAM, which uses analytics and meaning-based search with analytics on a 6sense, which is a sales tech organization, a marketing technology organization, uses simple text search as well as a Q&A chatbot. Goldman Sachs, which is a customer of ours, uses generative AI on Singlestore for their high net worth customers using analytics and meaning-based search for all their customers on their portfolio customers. And here are some of the stats that we have. We give 28K vector embedding ingestions across 500 documents per second with 17 million characters per second. These kind of performance, you will see it with no other databases in the market today. If you are looking for augmentation, we can augment existing transactional databases, whether it's on Mongo or anything else, as well as transactional databases. We can augment it for speed with fast ingest and native CDC. And Singlestore becomes that speedy layer for your application that brings in all the data from multiple sources and powers those intelligent modern applications. Not forgetting, we recently launched an API layer for Mongo application, which does not require any change for your queries or your data schemas, and we give you 100 to 1000x performance boost right out of the gate, giving operational analytics like no other. Now, this is how you can add intelligence to your applications with ease. You can deliver best-in-class vector and full-text search, reducing hallucinations and providing better recommendations with Singlestore. You can get started with Singlestore with ease because there is no data movement and a single data platforms, and it is easy to get through our notebooks, which is already pre-built on our platform. And you can leverage exact insights from all your enterprise data, which is locked within the four walls of your organization, and work with an LLM of your choice, whether it's open source or closed sourced, for all your Q&A, content generation, and data science needs. And lastly, millisecond performance on search, transaction, and analytics like no other. And this is why customers choose Singlestore. For speed across semantic search and full-text search, giving you fast hybrid search, the ability to do transaction and analytics and context on a single platform, and lastly, the simplicity, the ability to do a vast array of data types, whether it's SQL, relational, geospatial, keyword, time series, all that on a single platform using simple SQL to query across all data types. And this is my last slide. We have a booth right across the hall, and you can come and try Singlestore for free. We have a free share tier where you can run your applications. You can run up to 1 gigabyte of data. You can build your MVP on it across any data type and build intelligent applications. And we have a lot of giveaways for those who sign up today. And the winners will be announced on day 2 tomorrow. Thank you so much, and let's make the future happen. Take care.